Hello and welcome to Bud's RPG Review, where I give my thoughts on role-playing games, card games and board games. Today's review is the latest and final Talisman expansion from Fantasy Flight Games, Talisman Cataclysm. It was recently announced that Fantasy Flight Games and Games Workshop had concluded their licensing deal for the many intellectual properties that Games Workshop own. I would like to say I'm surprised, but honestly, I'm not. Games Workshop have a bit of a reputation as being a company that can be difficult to deal with, and I'm actually surprised that the relationship had lasted as long as it had done. Also, I genuinely feel that Talisman had run its course, and the Fantasy Flight Games had pretty much made everything that they could make, as the game was virtually unplayable when you use all of the expansions. I doubt I will be buying a Games Workshop edition should they pursue this. Okay, to the expansion itself. First thing that is noticeable is the box size. For this expansion, they have returned to the full-size box. They'd used a 2/3 size box for the Woodlands expansion. I understand the reason behind this. The box does contain a full-size Cataclysm board, but it does rankle that the Woodland box is and will remain the odd one out on my shelf. Upon opening the box, you're greeted with the aforementioned full-size board. All of the regions have been ravaged by the Cataclysm, including the once fiery inner region, which is now a frost-covered wasteland. As with all Fantasy Flight games, the quality is top-notch. The board is heavy and colourful and looks built to last. Inside the box we are treated to a gaggle of new playable classes: the Black Knight, the Barbarian, the Scavenger, the Arcane Scion and the Mutant. They all look fairly interesting to play. You also get the characters in the usual plastic figure format. Along with the figures you get a new basic ending for the Cataclysm set, the Eternal Crown, as well as 3 alternate endings. It also introduces the mechanic of hidden and revealed endings, i.e. the ending is placed face up so the players know what to expect when they reach the end. It looks an interesting mechanic that could change player tactics, and it would have been interesting to see where Fantasy Flight Games would have taken this had they retained the licensing deal. We're also treated to a bunch of new adventure, spell and purchase cards, as well as some terrain cards that were introduced first in the City expansion, and Warlock's Quest cards that were first introduced in the Reaper expansion. They've added a new set of Talisman cards that look to make the game a bit more interesting, as well as new cards for Denizens and Remnants. Denizens replace the usual automatic encounters on the corner spaces of the outer region. Remnants are cards that are placed face down on certain regions of the board that have the Remnant symbol. These are flipped over and played out along with adventure cards. Having read the rules and absorbed the idea behind the game, I have to say that despite the quality of the content, it does feel like Fantasy Flight Games were running out of ideas at this point, and losing the Games Workshop license may have given them a reprieve from producing more content that could be viewed as watered down, as well as leaving a legacy of great expansions for this classic game. I would imagine if Games Workshop were to take the reins on this and start producing Talisman material, most people will probably see the Fantasy Flight game version as the definitive version of this classic board game. So in conclusion, I would give this expansion a 7 out of 10. This is mostly based on the physical quality of the gaming materials. The expansion is certainly nothing to write home about. However, I would give Fantasy Flight Games an easy 10 out of 10 for the quality of the product and commitment to Talisman over the 8 years they've held the license. Fantasy Flight Games, if I had a hat, I would tip it to you. On a side note, with the current change in licensing, we may see a jump in prices of the Talisman and Relic board games, so it may be worth buying it now while the prices are still reasonable. If you enjoyed this review, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to check out my other reviews. Bud out.